Hey friends! Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community that is all about doing the inner work to live an aligned and, dare I say, happy life. I'm your host, spiritual guide and intuitive, Angell Kelly, and I'm here to share my teachings along with messages passed on to me from higher consciousness. I've also got incredible guests in store to help you go down all those spiritual rabbit holes. So let's go! Welcome to the club! Hi, Spirit Club. Hi, friends. Welcome to the first solo episode of season 2. And I know you're probably hoping for an update on life out here. And I'm going to give you like a version of that. Today, I'm going to talk about the inner work that I've been doing since getting to Greece. So basically the lessons that have come up and how I'm working through them. But I will do like a proper Greek update, but I thought it would be fun to do it like AMA style. So I am taking questions from you guys in Instagram and I'll do an AMA episode next solo, okay? So make sure to ask me some questions. Okay, so this is less of like my usual solo episodes where I tell you how to do the inner work or I channel from spirit, sort of like the energy and messages behind the work. This is really just more about my messy process, okay? So some of these themes that have come up, I have seen before, and I'm able to sort of slip into a knowing in how to proceed fairly easily. And some of these themes are like new to me, and some of them are like old wounds that are like, hey, I'm back. And I'm like, what are you doing here? So I just thought I'd share so that you know that I am also always doing the inner work. Okay, so the first theme that I've been working with is self-sabotage. Honestly, I have never knowingly dealt with self-sabotage since I've been aware of the inner work in my life. And honestly, when I used to hear about people self-sabotaging, I was like, oh, I can't relate. I honestly thought that I had too much self-love to self-sabotage. But humbly, that is not the truth. And in fact, I don't actually think it's about self-love, how it's come up for me. So let me explain. So this is the part about reaching the dream that I don't think enough people talk about. So you're going for a dream, whatever your dream is, okay? And in order for us to get from where we are to the dream, we have to expand into that dream, right? And we are doing the work to expand in order to get into the dream. Otherwise, you wouldn't get to the dream. However, when you get here, when you get there, wherever there is, it's like your energy isn't quite a full match to hold that capacity, that expansion of energy. And so what happens? Self-sabotage, or what can happen. In other words, the ego is going to do what it can to get you back to the energy that you're used to and that's safe. So when we first got here, I watched this start to happen. It was like, almost like not being able to be happy, creating problems, reading into things, making a larger issue out of something small, being dramatic, overlooking how great things are and focusing on the one thing that's not working. And definitely old wounds coming back to the surface that I thought I had said goodbye to. And I also watched this happen in Shane in different ways. I won't share his process, that's for him. So it was that kind of stuff. That is how the self-sabotage looked. And why is it self-sabotage? Well, if I didn't have the awareness and I let it happen, I would have sabotaged this. Does that make sense? I would have put myself right back in the energy of where I was and where I left, what I left. But thank God, honestly, thank God for awareness, you guys. Thank God, because I identified it pretty quickly. I recognized what was happening and I was like, I'm nipping this. We are not doing this. So how did I nip it? I've identified 3 things that I did. One, just having that awareness that it was my ego trying to self-sabotage and keep me safe really helped put me in like that observer position rather than active participant. You know what I mean? That really helped. Second thing I did was gratitude. I just like as many times a day as possible, and I'm still doing this, I really take the time to be present to where I am and what we've created and how great it is. Celebrate it, recognize it, be in awe of it, and be grateful for it. And then the third thing that I was doing, especially there was like 1 week where it was quite bad, is in meditation, I'd focus on expanding my energy to be able to hold more happiness, more joy, and more peace than I ever have before. So literally like pushing my energy out and reminding myself that I deserve that much happiness, joy, and peace. So I hope that makes sense. And, I feel like this is relatable because, maybe you're not moving across the world to Greece, but if there's something that you're working towards, be aware of when you get there, how your ego might self-sabotage because you are not yet expanded you don't yet have the capacity to hold that much happiness, joy, love, peace. Okay, second theme that we worked with, both of us, was slowing down more. So if you've been on this ride with me, you know that slowing down has been something I have been working on for a while. And it, took a lot of reprogramming work. But moving here was a big part of that, just wanting a slower life. And from day one, we were for sure operating slower than we're used to. Like not getting up with alarm clocks, starting our days slowly, yada, yada. But our Canadian version of slow ain't got nothing on the Greek version of slow, okay? Very quickly, we had to adapt to a pace that we have never experienced before. It's like, I can't really put it into words because you sort of have to experience it, but it's like, I don't know, it's like there are no timelines. If you ask for one, it will be incorrect, so just don't. And nobody's in a rush. Nobody's like, there's no like feeling of the schedule pressure. So it was uncomfortable at first because we wanted to get some things done. We just moved here and there were a lot of things that we had to get done. And nothing was moving. So you just feel like you're like, am I accomplishing anything? And Shane and I would do everything that we had to do, and then it would just get like bottlenecked within a Greek system. So Greek taught us that like, oh, you think you know slow? We will teach you slow. And it has already. Already I can see that Shane and I were like, oh, well, what's a timeline? Or, something doesn't work out the day that it's supposed to work out. Okay, it'll work out when it's meant to. Like we've somehow picked up on that pretty quickly. And there's a Greek saying, siga siga, which means like slowly, slowly, without haste. And Shane and I are probably saying siga siga multiple times a day now. Okay, so we are over the self-sabotage. Hopefully we are living more slowly. The next thing that's been like a conscious a conscious act on my part is alignment. So you know that I'm all about alignment. It's like kind of the foundation of why I have this podcast, why people work with me. I'm helping you to find and achieve alignment. And I believe alignment to be living according to the soul's path, or another way you could say that is living by God's will. And a lot of the time we can look outside of ourselves at sort of how God's showing us the way to go, or little clues from the soul. But another way that we can find alignment is inward, by feeling into, once you really get to know your soul, your intuition, you can feel what is in alignment and what isn't. And it kind of just is like, what feels good to you? What do you want? And it has to be like truly what you want, not what people want for you, not what the people pleaser in you wants, all that sort of thing. So as I start life over here in Greece, like from scratch, I am constantly feeling into this question. What do I want? What rhythm feels good to me? When do I want to wake up? How do I want to eat, move? What do I like to have in a day? How do I like to work? What kind of structure feels like enough for me? And it's really fun. It's really fun to build your life with this kind of knowing, this kind of freedom, this kind of permission. And I have to be careful that old habits don't sneak their way in, because, yeah, I don't want to bring things like people-pleasing habits or my like hyper productivity habits into this life. So I'm being aware of that. But yeah, it's really amazing to be able to create life in this truly aligned way, and just like give myself full permission to do every day in a way that feels good, and also like allow it to change. So that is my work with alignment. The next theme that's been coming up a lot is being present. I mean, it kind of feels silly to say that one out loud because it's like, duh, be present. We all know this. But it's sometimes those simple lessons. Actually, I will say it's probably always the simple lessons that are the most important. That's why they're a cliche. That's why they come up a lot. So, this new life, not gonna lie, so much of my days are great. Like, I love so much of this life. And my old life, the majority of my day, I used to dread because of my job. And then the other things that I would do outside of my job, I was so burnt out that I even dreaded doing them. Like anything that wasn't sleeping or having a bath or eating, I basically dreaded. So now that almost 100% of every day I'm loving, it's really interesting to watch how my mind or even my physical body wants to move on to the next thing. So I noticed this pretty quickly. I'll start talking about it, thinking about it, or like physically moving towards the next thing in my day. And I'm like, wait a minute, why do I want to move on to the next thing? This thing is great. I need to be here with this thing. And then I can be there with that thing, enjoying it. So being present is basically what I'm talking about. It's not rocket science. And so now, how am I doing this? Just when I find because it's a habit, it's a program, it's deeply ingrained in me from being hyper productive, probably. So now when I find myself thinking or starting to move on to the next thing, I just bring myself into the present, and I do that by using my senses, my physical senses. So I'll either look around, or I'll like touch the sand, breathe in the air, just listen to the sounds, just take in details of the physical space. And then gratitude, more gratitude. That always helps me to stay present. Okay, last theme I've been working with, and this one's vulnerable for me. The last theme I've been working with is stuff around my body. So I don't think I've talked about this on here before, but my body and healing around my body, shame, guilt, judgment about my physical body has been a wound that I've worked with many times. And it's something that like just sneaks up on me every now and then, and it has chosen to come back since I moved here. You know, is that because I'm in a bathing suit more? Is it because I'm eating differently? Don't know. Or is it because it's the ego's way of trying to self-sabotage? Don't know. But when it came up, I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this again. And I heard Lee Harris talk about this as, he called it cyclic healing. And I really liked that because it just had this feeling of like, yes, some things cycle around, especially those ones that are kind of like ever present in our lives. But when they come back to you, you are not the same anymore. So there's like this new layer that you are going to see, identify, be able to work through. And it's come back because you have the space for that, or you're ready for it, whatever it happens to be. So it's resurfaced for me, and I have gotten some help because, you know, love doing inner work on my own and also love doing it with support from a mentor. So I've got myself in some help. But one of the biggest aha moments I've had around it, and I'm not going to share too much because I'm like very in the process right now. Maybe on the other side I'll talk about it. But one of the things I've noticed is how I leave my body. I just leave my body when I'm around food sometimes. And I leave my body because my body feels unsafe to be in, because inside my body are feelings of shame, guilt, and judgment. Who wants to be around those? Nobody. So I leave my body. So one of the things I've consciously been trying to do is just stay in my body. When I notice that I'm starting to leave it, you know, maybe there's food around that I feel guilty about, whatever it is, and I start to leave my body, I'm bringing myself back into my body, and I'm allowing myself to just feel the feeling of shame, of guilt, of judgment, whatever it happens to be, but just feeling it, fully feeling the emotion. And I'm finding when I do that, it's not actually as bad as as my ego thinks it is. So that's been interesting and helpful, big time. And then the other thing I've been consciously trying to do is to like not obsess over women's bodies. I didn't realize how much I was doing it, but I am always looking at women's bodies. And like, maybe I'm passing judgment, maybe I'm comparing, maybe I'm just looking, and I don't know, like, I was a dancer my entire life. I definitely know I was doing it then. So I don't know if this is a habit I've just carried around. Maybe we all do it. You guys tell me. But so I've been just trying to stop myself from looking at women's bodies. Just stopping it. Just stop. And if I must, I'll like look at their clothes because I love fashion and I'll get some inspo. So yeah, I'm just trying to like take the emphasis off of the body because it is the least interesting thing about us. And I am making it the most. So those are some things that I'm doing to work on my wounds around the body. And it's working. And I've still got a road ahead, but I've got help for that. So yeah, thanks for listening. So I think that's it. I don't know. There's probably other things, but those are the big ones that came up. And, you know, basically what Greece has asked me to look at so far. And I just wanted to give you guys insight into what doing the inner work looks like in my life, it is really like just how I'm living my life. It is a lifestyle. It is not, other than the body stuff, which is a deeper wound, and honestly, it's lineage work, so it is harder. Other than the body stuff, it's not hard, this doing the work. It is just the way I'm living my life, and in fact, it is so rewarding. It's actually what's allowing me to love my life. Without doing this, I'd be right back where I started, and I hope you can see that. Without doing this, I wouldn't be able to expand into a life that has more joy, more happiness, more peace, and more love than I've ever known. So thank friggin' God for the inner work. And if you want to do more of the inner work in your life, you are in the right place. That's what this podcast is all about, specifically the solo episodes. Where I try to give you some practical ways to do the inner work. So if you're looking for ways to help yourself, scroll back through my solo episodes. And there's more to come. Thanks for listening. Love you guys.